I recently just finished this chunky chonker of a book. It is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. It's the first book in a fantasy trilogy, over 600 pages. I need a palate cleanser. I need something that is the opposite of fantasy, especially after reading two fantasies back to back. It was so good. I am just feeling like mush right now. There was a lot of thinking that went involved. It's a fantasy and a mystery. So, oof, I'm a little drained. And I decided to have Fable choose what I should read next based off of my want to read list. And also, I made sure that Fable would choose a book that is on my physical TBR. Since I am still doing 75 booked, I'm a little over a month done, and one of the rules is I'm not allowed to purchase any books until the 75 days are over. So far, I've been doing amazing. I've purchased 0 books, and I've been reading from my TBR. I keep pointing over there because my TBR shelf is like literally right there. And so with that, Fable chose The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. I've read one book by her. I read The Memory Police a few years ago. Don't remember much about Yoko's writing style, but I'm still excited to read this book. This is a translated piece of work by Stephen Snyder. Yoko Ogawa is a Japanese literary fiction author. The story is about a housekeeper who ends up caretaking for an elder professor. He's brilliant. He used to be a mathematician at one point, but after a tragic accident, he has short-term memory loss. The back says Yoko Ogawa's Housekeeper and the Professor is an enchanting story about what it means to live in the present and about the curious equations that can create a family. I think this is going to be so sweet and so short, and it's going to also break my heart. But I, for now, need to rush to the knitting store because I made a lot of progress on my sweater, and it turns out I made a very big mistake. I lost some stitches and now I need some help. I scrambled yesterday and was Googling a lot, and Google was no help at all. So, Bucky, oh my gosh, Bucky is laying on my camera right now, and now I'm crooked. What is happening in this world? But before my camera dies, let me just show you my sweater. I've made a lot of progress. She's looking so good, even though she's a hot mess. Look at it. It looks like a sweater. I am shocked. I'm so proud of myself. I need to finish the body, and then I'll be working on the sleeves, and then I need to block, and I'll be done. I'm gonna go though now because Bucky is breathing and shaking and moving the camera. Rah! That's how this video is gonna go, apparently. What a great way to start off this vlog. Enjoy. I feel like when I pick up the camera, I'm going back and forth between my office and then right here in the living room because they both have the best lighting right now. And also, we are currently working on the den. We just finished painting over the weekend, and the next step is to rip the carpet out and put down vinyl flooring. The issue here is that I can't use the den right now, and then the kitchen area is a mess and it stresses me out. At least I have a lot of plants on the table, so it feels like it's intentional, even though it's absolutely not. That's where the house is right now, and I hate clutter, so this, what I'm looking at right now in the kitchen, is very stressful and I hate it. But I just need to be patient, and I am almost done with this book. It's 180 pages. I'm on 130 pages. It's the perfect palette cleanser. It's such a feel-good story for me. I am sad that this story is almost over. I, at this point, wish it was longer because I feel so invested with our characters. I would say this is a slow developed, character-driven story about two unlikely people becoming friends. It's a story about our housemaid and then our professor. The professor got into an accident years ago, maybe 14 years ago, and since then he's lost part of his memory. He can only remember up to 80 minutes of his life. So he can't remember anything before 80 minutes ago. And it's so strange because this professor is a professor in mathematics, and he remembers everything from prime numbers to the theory of the Pythagorean theorem to every single math concept, and he just doesn't remember most of his life. He's basically stuck in the year of his accident, and while the housemaid and professor build this relationship, the housemaid introduces the professor to her son, and they build this really tender and sweet relationship too. And it's just so heartwarming. Nothing really happens. We just interact between the housemaid and the professor, and there's a lot of him teaching the son about different math concepts. It does remind me of A Man Called Uva by Frederick Bachman, just a lot shorter. I just want to give the professor a hug. I don't know how else to put it. It's just a warm cup of tea, and I'm sad that it's not longer. I am working my way through my physical TBR, and I've noticed that a lot of the books that I have are literary fiction. I have a few fantasy series here and there, but I'm excited to pick up more translated pieces of work and also just read more literary fiction. I am enjoying them more than I thought I would. I feel like I'm entering this stage where I don't necessarily want to read romance. Not that I have anything against romance. I love romance books. It's what I read predominantly last year. But I'm ready to read something that makes me think a little bit more, makes me feel different, and I don't even know how to explain it, but I just want to expand the types of books that I'm reading, and I want to read more well-rounded books, but also different books with different stories, because romance books are all kind of the same. What I want to do right now, though, is print out little book covers for all of the books that are on my physical TBR. I have a mini Canon printer, and I want to be able to print the book covers out so I can have them ready for when I read a book or I'm ready for a book review. Like, an example is that for this book, I don't have a mini book cover ready for my reading journal, and that bothers me because I want to be able to add notes to my reading journal, and right now I'm just highlighting things in the book and taking my notes on here, but I want to be able to transfer it over to my reading journal. It's going to be time consuming, and with that, let's go print some book covers. Yeah! One second. Much better. I felt like I looked a little dusty there. I finished The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. Surprising 5-star. Such a surprising 5-star for me, only because I didn't think this tiny book would bring me so much joy and love. I am so sad that the story is over because the book is just so gentle. The story just comes full circle. Story about found family and learning to live in the moment, learning to live in the present, and also just treating humans as humans. I love that in this story, the housemaid or housekeeper and her son, who ends up forming this beautiful and close relationship with the professor, the two of them treat the professor like he is their friend rather than him being a patient. I don't want to spoil anything because this book is literally so tiny. You could finish it in a day or two, but it's just packed with just gentle love, just gentle nudges and reminders of the good in people and of humanity. It makes me feel really good. And that's all I can really say. I ended up going through and tabbing wherever I highlighted things because I didn't do that while I was reading. I'm not going to think of Matt the same way. Since the accident that had occurred to the professor, Matt has always just been a constant in his life. And there was just something so profound in his love for Matt. And it wasn't until the housekeeper and her son came along that you start to realize that, yes, the professor loves Matt, but you start to realize that the professor also just loves Root, which is what he calls this little boy, because this boy has a flat head and it reminds him of a square root, the symbol for a square root. At the end of a chapter, it says, he treated Root exactly as he treated prime numbers. And that's at the end of the book. And at the beginning of the book, chapter 4, the professor loved prime numbers more than anything in the world. Oh! Makes my heart feel so warm and fuzzy. That's it. We have to move on. If you are just having a few bad days, you're down in the dumps, you need a little pick-me-up, this is the perfect pick-me-up for you. It's short, sweet, not too complicated, even with all of the arithmetic and math concepts that you read about in here. It's just a book that reminds you that humanity exists and we like to help other people. Testing, testing, testing. I hope this works. I ended up getting a new mic set. I got the DJI mic minis. They're so tiny. They're so cute and very not noticeable. I was getting tired of carrying around my Rode mics. They're wonderful mics. I just don't need them. I feel like they're way more professional. And I just wanted something a lot smaller that I can take around with me. I have some very exciting news. I am done with my body of my step-by-step sweater. and I figured we could try her on. She looks a lot smaller compared to my Baba sweater I'm wearing right now, but my Baba sweater is a little big for me. Technically, it's one size fits all, but I like how slouchy and big that sweater is. And I'm gonna have to block this sweater anyway, so when I finish it and block it, the sweater is going to expand. Stop it. Actually, you can clap. I would love an applause. There are so many issues with this sweater, so many mistakes, but you can't even tell. It looks so good. We're ready. I think we're ready for sleeves. That's the last thing I have to do. Well, actually, I still have my needles and I need to bind off the bottom right here, and then I can start on my sleeves and I'll officially be done. Wow. And I'm very proud of myself. For knitting, I'm very impressed and proud of myself, even though I have hit some roadblocks and I've needed to ask for help, but that's the best way to learn. I don't really have a history of knitting except for knitting like 2 scarves in college, and it was just a knit stitch all the way. So I'm a very beginner, and I learned how to purl stitch, rib, raglan increase, decrease, and just learn how to do everything with this sweater. And I do think that it is a beginner friendly sweater. If you're wanting to start knitting, you should start with the step-by-step sweater. If you're going to work on a knitting project, you want to make sure it's something that you're really passionate about and you're going to end up using or wearing, because if not, then you're not going to feel invested throughout the process. And since I'm a big fan of chunky sweaters, I decided this would be the first project for me, and I'm so glad that I made this decision. I already have a lineup of what I want to make next. I do want to give more knitting updates, and next time when I start my second project, I want to really keep track on social media of my progress and share it with you all, just to show that I'm not perfect and I'm making mistakes, but I'm still continuing and like learning through the process. I was hoping I would finish this sweater before this video ends, and I probably won't, so it'll probably be done for the next video that I am planning on filming.